Welcome back to the Positive State Podcast. Glad you're tuning in. Special interview today. And you know what's cool about my guest today? John Lee Dumas is in the house. And one of the things he doesn't know, which he probably hears this a lot, and I talked about this on my show before about having mentors that you don't even know. John Lee Dumas is someone I respect more than he probably realizes because of his consistency, his effort, his willingness to give shit away free. John Lee Dumas, my man, welcome to the Positive Side Podcast.
JT, JLD here, brothers. Great to hang out with you. I'm looking forward to chat.
I love it, brother. Hey, I'm a big believer on going for your goals and dreams. I'm huge on it, people getting started. But one of the biggest things is the biggest question I have for you is why is defining the big idea simply not enough? Because we talk to people who have these huge ideas, but that's really all it is. So why is that not enough?
It's not enough, man. Just having a big idea is not enough. Because guess what? Other people have had big ideas. Other people have had your big idea. And so instead of going against the massive competition, instead of going, against the saturated market that might be, you've got to do the next step in the process, which is discover the niche, find the void that's not being filled, uncover the problem that's not being solved within your big idea. So take your big idea. Yes, that's awesome. That's great. But what's the niche that's not being uncovered, served, solved properly? You become the best solution for that specific problem within your big idea, you'll win.
Why don't people actually take the first step? That's one of the biggest things I encourage people all the time. Like, is it fear? Is it anxiety? Is it what are other people are going to think about me? Why don't people actually take that first step?
They're scared. They're scared. And guess what? All the magic happens outside of our comfort zone. But every ounce of us as human beings, we want to stay inside of our comfort zone. Our comfort zone's comfortable. It's cozy. It's nice. We can hang out there. We know what we're doing. It's comfortable. But guess what? That's not where the magic happens. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone. And guess what? It's scary out there. You might look foolish. You might get made fun of. You might fail because you're trying something new. In fact, you probably will fail. But if you want to make magic in this world, in your lifetime, get out of your comfort zone.
It's so important that you said that because, the first time I launched my show and, I've done it for 4 years now and I was scared to death. And, the biggest pushback I got was interesting enough. And a lot of people aren't really ready for this. And I think this is the reason why people quit and give up is because the biggest pushback I got was from my family. Like, what are you doing? And what's wrong? Do you need money? I mean, I had all this crazy shit coming at me and it was great. I loved it. But that's what I think stops a lot of people. You recently wrote a book, and that was another big thing for me recently. I wrote a book out here the past few months, but you've got a book coming out, The Common Path to Uncommon Success. Now, what I love about this book, and I did a little research on this, it took you 480 hours to write it, 71,000 words, and inside of the book, you have a 17-step roadmap to find financial freedom and fulfillment. And one of the things that I've struggled with my whole life, I'm completely authentic, is financially, I've been pretty stable with it, but I just can't get over the hump on my podcast and my social media presence, in my online presence, and really making that the most important thing in my life. Because I got a 9-to-5, which I love. Hey, I'm good at what I do, but I don't want to do it forever, my friend. How is your book going to benefit a guy like me? And what can I look forward to in that book?
There are so many steps that you're either doing incorrectly or that you might just need a small tweak, pivot, or adjustment to crack open a whole new opportunity that you need to go through. So no matter what step you think in the process you'll look at the table of contents, you'll see the 17 steps. You'll say, oh, wow, these are all great steps. I think I'm at about step 9, chapter 9, step 7, chapter 7. And most people will make the mistake of starting there going forward. No. You start at step 1, chapter 1, and you identify 3 things. Number 1, did you actually correctly do that step? If you did, awesome. Move forward. Are there tweaks, adjustments, or pivots you may need to make within that step? Awesome. Make those tweaks, adjustment, pivots that I teach you how to do in that step, and then move forward. Or the third thing, maybe it's time to wipe the slate clean because you did the whole thing wrong. And that's how you move through this book. Step 1, chapter 1, all the way through step 17, chapter 17, getting to financial freedom and fulfillment. And it's not going to happen overnight or over a month. It's going to happen over time when you apply these principles correctly and consistently.
Once again, we're talking to John Lee Dumas, absolute podcast legend, someone that I've looked up to for years and years and years. And no bullshit aside, dude, I love your show, man. I mean, the free content that is given away in there, that it's a little overwhelming because you get so much information. It's just so powerful. Why is giving away free content so important to you?
Listen, you need to develop know, like, and trust with your audience. Your audience is not going to right off the bat just be like, oh, here's this dude living in Puerto Rico. Let me just know, like, and trust this guy right away. No, that's not how this world works. Again, going back to the caveman days we were talking about earlier, like there's things that are innate within us human beings. And what's innate? We are going to fear. We are going to doubt. We're going to want to live in our comfort zone. We're going to be scared about getting outside of our comfort zone. And the same thing is, we're not just going to know, like, and trust every single person that we meet. You need to earn that. How do you earn that? By delivering free, valuable, consistent content. When you do those three things, you will build know, like, and trust with an audience who you can then, over time, once you've built it to a certain level, look at that audience and say, what is your biggest struggle right now? And then your audience will tell you their struggles, their obstacles, their challenges. And then what do? You create solutions for them in the form of products, services, coaching, masterminds, fill in the blank. That's how you do this game right.
In your book, chapter 8, you talk about creating content. And you mentioned the word consistency and how important that is. Now, you're obviously one of the most consistent people in the game. You've been doing it for year after year, episode after episode. Why is consistency so important? And within that, I think you also talk about your why. Talk a little bit about your why, your personal why, and why that's so important and how it ties into being consistent.
So listen, consistency is huge for one specific reason. You need to put in the reps. Like, how are you ever going to get good at something not doing that thing? Do you think anybody in this world that you respect and that you admire for doing something did it by being inconsistent, by doing it once every other month? Do you think any athlete that you look at became a professional or won a gold medal by being inconsistent with their training? No, it's putting in the reps. So when you're consistent, you're getting a little tiny bit better every single day. That's how you win. And what's my why? My why is a ripple effect. The ripple effect of knowing that a podcast episode that I recorded 9 years ago is being listened to by somebody right now in a country that maybe I've never heard of, because my podcast is listened to in 145 countries around the world. And maybe that podcast, for some weird reason, today, right now, as we're talking, is cracking something open for that person, inspiring them, motivating them to do something that they might not otherwise have ever done. And now they're going to go off and inspire a whole host of individuals who they might not otherwise have ever inspired. And that ripple effect, let me tell you, is something special. And I don't even know what's happening. Just like you mentioned at the beginning of the show, I didn't know that I was your mentor for 4 years now, your virtual mentor, but I love the fact that I could help inspire you to now go off and inspire all the people that you've inspired over the past 4 years, and that you will for the next 40 years. The ripple effect.
It's crazy you say that, because, I talk to people all the time, and then, the question you get is, well, how much money you make from your podcast? And, I've been fortunate. I make a little bit from it, which is great. But the bigger impact for me, and you're exactly right, is getting those emails, man, that, hey, you changed my life. I was, I had one a couple weeks ago. Hey, I almost committed suicide, and I was really on the brink of that. I've listened to several of your episodes, and it's changed my perspective. And man, when you talk about starting that, I mean, that's why I do the podcast, right? I mean, what the hell?
That's fantastic. And you know what? It only takes one of those. I mean, literally one of those emails to completely make you understand what impact you can be having without even knowing it.
Yeah, we all have that special message, right? And I think that's part of the beautiful thing about podcasting is no matter what your niche is, we all have a special talent that somebody needs to hear, and we're going to inspire and motivate somebody, and it's going to change their lives. It's going to change their friends' lives, kids' lives, and all that stuff. And the selfish reason I do my podcast too is to impact my kids' lives. I mean, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, I mean, knock on wood, I hope I don't. But man, oh man, my kids, my grandkids' kids can go back and listen to all my goofy podcasts and say, damn, my dad, grandpa, great grandpa was jacked up, and I don't know what he was jacked up on, but he was great.
Hopefully they're listening to this one. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, heck yeah, I guarantee they will be. What was, I've got a lot of aha moments in my time.
Wait a second. Tell them you love them.
I love all my kids. I love Vincent, Anthony, Mia, my angel. I love them all.
Awesome, man.
They,
That's
they, they made
that
my
is
life.
special. They're listening right now, and maybe not your kids, but like you said, maybe your great great grandkids who like just never even had the chance to see you or to hear you or to do any of those things. Like I have a grandfather. My grandfather died like when my dad was 20. So let alone I never
Yeah.
even got a chance to see him. And this was back in the day. So like I've seen like one or two pictures of this guy, one or two pictures. I've never heard his voice. I've never seen like any kind of video of this person. Like he's my grandfather. He's actually my namesake. His name's John Dumas. And it's like, you don't think I'd be listening to a podcast episode that he did like 50 years ago? I'd pay
Absolutely.
$10,000 for that thing. Come on.
John Maxwell wrote a book, Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And I'm going to go through some of these questions with you. And I know we're going to get out of here quickly, but these are so important. Question number one for John Lee Dumas is, what is the greatest lesson you've ever learned?
The greatest lesson that I ever learned. Try not to become a person of success, but rather a person of value. Albert Einstein.
So powerful. The success will take care of itself. Obviously, when you bring value, like you always say, it's obviously the success will come with the value that you give. Question number two is, what are you learning now?
Cryptocurrency.
Oh man, I'm all over it. I was just checking out my Coinbase account. I just got Moonbase. I think it's Moon Safe Moon, going to the moon. I'm all over that too. That's great, isn't it?
So good. What's the ticker symbol on that?
I think it's just Moon or Moon. It might just be Moon Safe. I don't know, but you have to buy it. You have to buy like some obscure crypto to buy another crypto to buy another crypto. It's great.
That's when you know it's good, because the harder it is to acquire the crypto, like the more to the moon it could go, or to zero.
Exactly. And I don't know how the hell I'm going to get my billions of dollars out when it does hit, but I'll figure it out. Damn it. Question number three is, how has failure shaped your life?
It's been my education. Failure's been my education. The faster I fail, the better, because it's more failures and it's more learning. It's more education.
Question number four, and this is how I got connected with you, from one of my great friends, Elise Archer. I don't know if she rings a bell to you. I love Elise. She said, you got to get JLD on the show. But John Lee Dumas, who do you know that I should know?
Travis Chappell, the founder of Guestio.
Travis Chappell, Guestio. Tell me about him real quick.
So he is my mentee of old. He came to my house here in Puerto Rico for a 3-day exclusive mastermind that I held as like a 24-year-old. And he has just continued to go from strength to strength. He's launched this company, Guestio, Guestio, which is a fantastic company, which allows podcasters to essentially, get on other shows, get other people on their shows. And it's a company that I've both invested in and am an advisor for. Travis Chappell.
I need to get Travis on the show for sure. Question number 5 is, what have you done that I should do?
A 5-day water fast.
I've thought about that. I've thought about that a lot, actually, and I'm a little nervous about it because I'm good with a day or 2 days. Do you drink coffee in the water fast or no coffee?
No coffee. Water.
Just straight water only. No. What about like supplements, like vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C? Nothing. That's awesome. I've thought about it for a while, and you know what? I'm going to put it back on that vision board back there, and I'm going to
start being an action taker, Jeremy.
Well, that's a good point. You know what? Quit talking about it. Be about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Start with a 2-day fast, bump it up to a 3 a couple months later, and then go for 5. And do your research, by the way. There's some great YouTube videos you should watch first.
Okay. Question number 6 is, what have you read that I should read?
Pleasure Trap.
Pleasure Trap. Who wrote that?
Dr. Alan Goldhammer.
Pleasure Trap. All right. I will absolutely read that, my friend. Final question for you, and we're going to get you out of here. Actually, a little bit early. It's going to work out good for you, my friend. And it's super important to me because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, how important you've been to me for years and years and years. Devin realized it, and I just love your entire show, Entrepreneur on Fire, EOF, Fire Nation. I love it. How can I add value to you? I mean, I'm just a schlep from northern Indiana doing my thing, but how can I actually truly add value to you?
Go on Amazon, buy The Common Path to Uncommon Success, and then leave a kind review within a week of receiving the book.
Okay, I can do that. I will do that. And I meant to do it actually when I was waiting for the show. I was going to do it, but I'm 100% going to do it because I think that book maybe filling in some of these blanks that I'm missing with my online presence and my book and my podcast and everything else I'm going. I just feel like I'm missing that one little thing, and I think that's where. It's all the things that we talked about today. It's probably consistency. It's probably maybe the strong enough why. And there's all kinds of other things that I just need to tighten all these things up. And I think that book's going to do it. Before we get out of here, JLD, tell everybody where they can find you.
Listen to my podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. My headquarters is eofire.com. A lot of free courses there for entrepreneurs. And check out my book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success, at your favorite bookstore.
JLD, your time means more to me than you could realize. And I know you're very, very busy, and I can't thank you enough for being on the show. For everyone out there listening around the galaxy, make sure you dial in EOF. I mean, I listen to it every single morning on the way to work. Gets me fired up. The podcasts are about right around the half-hour length, which is a perfect amount of time to get you to where you're going and also get you on your way home. So make sure you check him out. Got any questions? Obviously, email me, jeremy@jeremytodd.com. All the links for the show will be at the bottom of the podcast. But hey, I say it in every single episode, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. You've got greatness within. Like always, this is The Positive Side.